Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Be Alert News. This is the show that we talk about everything from the White House to the crack house. That's right. We talk about the truth and we're not shy. Look, this is Leon Benjamin, and I am excited that you took out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I got a very good dear friend with me, and we're going to try to unpack as much of the current news as we can. We're going to talk about some things to get America ready, not for their great reset, but I believe for a supernatural, powerful revival, the reset of the kingdom of God here in America and even abroad. I think that we have an opportunity to be not only relevant, but to be a people of action and demonstration of power. My dear friend that you're going to hear from, I'm telling you, you got to come back. You got to hear what he has to say. Get on the edge of your seat, take some notes. We'll be back with Roger Stone.
At the Brighteon store, we offer a variety of colloidal silver solutions that we make in Texas using Texas rainwater and specialized circuitry that I personally designed to produce silver ions in purified rainwater. We have a colloidal silver extra strength spray, a silver-based first aid gel, as well as a colloidal silver herbal mouthwash solution that people just rave about. Each one of these is subjected to our rigorous laboratory testing for metals, glyphosate, and microbiology in order to ensure product purity and safety for your health. We manufacture our own silver products right in the heart of Texas and deliver them to you using our own warehousing and fulfillment infrastructure that we built to serve real America. All of us here at Brighteon thank you for your support. Shop our silver products at brighteonstore.com.
Thanks for your support of this platform. Use the code BTV at checkout for additional savings. BrighteonStore.com.
Hi,
All right, as Clay Clark would say, yes, yes, and yes. we have an awesome show today, and we're going to unpack as much as we can. I want to thank first and foremost Mike Adams with Brighteon. We just came back from Myrtle Beach, and we had a Brighteon table set up, and I had a chance to interview. Maybe you'll see it later on with Dr. Stella and so many other great patriots were there. And you can go to brighteonstore.com if you want to support us in any way by getting these wonderful products there. You'll get a discount of 5%. Just put in the code BALERT, BALERT, and save 5% with some of the great products that Mike Adams has put up there. Very much preventative as well as maintenance. You know, I thank God that while I was there in Myrtle Beach at the Reawaken tour with Clay Clark and General Flynn, that I ran into my dear friend Roger Stone. He needs no introduction, but let me tell you something. He has been with the greatest of the greats. He is a confidant. He is, again, a family man, a husband that loves his wife, and he is a child of God. He has recently renewed his relationship with Jesus Christ. He is a confidant of President Donald Trump. And let me tell you something, the attacks against this man are unsurmountable, but with the help and the grace of our mighty God through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he is overcoming every single deterrent and every single battle. Look, Roger, come on, man. Let's unpack this stuff today. Roger Stone, how are you doing, my friend?
Well, Bishop Benjamin, first of all, I'm honored to be on with you again. People should know that in the hour of my affliction, in the 2-year witch hunt that my wife and I and our family were subjected to, you were one of the standouts in terms of support, prayer, leadership, and lining up others. You were among those who co-signed a letter to the president urging him to issue clemency in my case because it was such an obvious lynching. And when you go through something like I've been through, the only advantage is you find out who your real friends are, and then you find out who the people are who pretended to be your friends because there was some advantage to them. And in your case, you are a standout in terms of everything you did for me to achieve justice in my case, and that is not something I will ever forget. So it's an honor to be on your show. And you're right. This is a crucial time. The American left is hysterical, because first of all, we see the manifestation of their policies: record gasoline prices, food shortages in the richest, most prosperous country in the United States. Today, I'm hearing about diesel fuel shortages that will shut down the trucking industry. That means all consumer goods, including food, will be scarcer and harder to get. Crippling inflation that is destroying the buying power of the dollar. We're being humiliated around the globe, where we're basically back to being played for patsies. And what is the reaction of our current administration? Oh, look, over there, it's a war in Ukraine. In other words, this is a strategy of distraction. The burden is very heavy. I predict right now on this show, Joe Biden himself will be removed, not by the Republicans, but by the Democrats after the midterm elections. They will say that his health has failed. He's a great statesman. They'll deify him the whole time they are showing him the door. He's a great statesman. He's done a fabulous job, but it's just sad that his health will no longer allow him to carry out his duties. Translation: the weight of the Hunter Biden scandals, combined with all of those indicators I just spoke about, shows that he is too heavy a burden to carry into another election, and they know it. My guess is that he'll agree to resign. He'll go quietly because he's going to pardon his son and his brother and other co-conspirators on his way out the door.
Let me ask you a question right there, Roger, because from the 2020 elections, which we know were stolen, we are not bashful or shy about that, as indicated also by the new movie that came out, 2000 Mules, with Dinesh D'Souza, that when Biden was allowed to come in, because we know he lost the primary, literally the primary was also stolen away probably from some other candidates that probably was more better qualified to get in there. But all of these paths of thievery, was Biden ever in control from day one, the day he got inaugurated? Who was really running the show? I mean, was he ever in control?
No, I don't think he's running the country today. Neither is the vice president. I don't think they have any actual authority. They may legally be the president and vice president, but your real president, your de facto president, is, of course, Barack Hussein Obama. This is his third term. I have documented that Susan Rice and Ron Klain, the White House aides who really are running the country on a day-to-day basis, Klain running domestic policy, Rice, who should be in prison, running the foreign policy. They go to the Obama compound at 7 a.m. every morning for a conference call with the real president of the United States and perhaps his wife. And then the senior White House staff meetings happened at 7:45. So for those who say, well, oh my God, if Joe Biden is removed, Kamala Harris will be president. No, not really. I mean, she might have the title of president. She doesn't know. She's actually has no excuse. Biden, I think, has dementia. I've said that before. I'll be criticized for saying it, but physicians who are friends of mine, doctors who are expert in this area, watching his speech patterns, watching him, say that all the obvious symptoms are there. In her case, she's just plain stupid. I mean, she didn't have an excuse. She's young and still makes no sense whatsoever. Talk about repeating the talking points over and over again. But despair not, because neither one of them is running the country. Right now, Obama is running the country, and that is reason for despair. Now we have a lesson of history. Those with unlimited power never give up unlimited power voluntarily. They're facing a democratic election, and they know they're underwater. Every poll shows it. Even the polls that aren't rigged show it. In a perfect world, there would be a red wave coming, which would deprive them of control of the House and the Senate. As I said in Myrtle Beach, and I know you agree with me, just the election of Republicans in the House and the Senate is not going to save America. In fact, it's not even going to change the direction of America. What must happen is we must elect a subset, a cadre of Republicans in the House and in the Senate who will use their leverage to push against the leadership. Candidates like, I don't know, Leon Benjamin, Laura Loomer, R.J. Majewski in Ohio, Mike Crispy in New Jersey, so many others, Gerald Sessler in Washington State.
Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer in Oklahoma.
The nice thing in the Senate, it's even I won't say easier, but it's simpler. The election of three patriots, Jackson Lawmeyer, Jan Morgan in Arkansas, and perhaps J.D. Vance in Ohio, changes the entire shift of power. Without those three in his caucus or vowing to vote against him, McConnell would be powerless. They just have to have the fortitude to stick together and make certain demands. Now add them to Rand Paul, who I think demonstrated this week that he is perhaps the only statesman in the country. Extraordinary piece yesterday in Newsweek in which they say John McCain warned us about Rand Paul and Putin. So this warmonger from beyond the grave smears a patriot. Really, somebody should have warned us about John McCain and the Muslim Brotherhood, if you ask me.
This is one of the things where right now, because I know I'm the GOP nominee right now in Virginia in the 4th Congressional District, and I think that it's no longer the lines have been muddied between Democrat and Republican, but yet the Democratic Party right now is falling in every poll, every single poll. The Democratic Party is falling, and people are looking for hope. Where do I go? This Titanic ship called the Democratic Party is sinking right before our eyes, and we're trying to get people to understand there is still hope. I like the term, first you use a distraction. So Ukraine, the war on Russia, distraction. All those things are distraction. The midterms, 2022 is the real focus. Even the leak, I want to get your opinion about that. The leak at the Supreme Court about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, even though we know that all babies' lives matter, not just black lives, black babies, but all babies' lives matter. Was that also a distraction to try to pull many people, again, off focus on what's really about to happen in November 8th, 2022, during the midterms? What do you think about that?
Entirely. This is a classic political tactic. The leak of a draft Supreme Court decision regarding Roe v. Wade is entirely designed to be a distraction. Yet you have to wonder, if I went out tomorrow and I doxed, meaning published the home address of the liberal members of the Supreme Court, or let's say I went out and I published the home address of Adam Schiff, wherever he lives with his boyfriend, the number of people, the number of FBI agents who would storm my home the next morning to arrest me would make my previous arrests look like small potatoes. So once again we have a double standard. Here's where I think the left has perhaps fooled themselves. There's not going to be a tidal wave of voters concerned about abortion rights. 4% of Americans in the most recent Gallup poll put abortion rights as their number one concern in the country. 4%. The people who are animated by this issue are on the extremes, those like us who are strongly pro-life, those on the left who are strongly pro-abortion. The great vast majority of the people in the middle, even today, are roughly evenly split on abortion, but even those who are for legal abortion want certain restrictions on it. They don't want late-term abortion. They don't want abortion on demand days before a child is to be delivered. And you touched on a very good point. They call us white supremacists, but the vast majority of the unborn who are being murdered are African Americans, are children of color. This is black genocide, is what this is, at the hands of elites. Yet they call us the white supremacists, which is, of course, a joke. I don't know about you. I'm from the party of Lincoln. We are the party of civil rights. We need to get back to being the party of civil rights. Yes. Under Donald Trump, you had more jobs created for people of color. You had greater economic opportunity created for black people. You had the highest wage growth among African Americans in American history. You also had, for the first time, real criminal justice reform. The laws sponsored by Joe Biden and signed into law by Bill Clinton are what mandated the harsh mandatory penalties for the first time nonviolent crime of possession of small amounts of drugs.
Yes.
This has fallen disproportionately on black people and poor people. These people belong in drug treatment programs, not incarcerated at the expense of the taxpayers. They're not dangerous criminals. So they are the racists. They are the white supremacists. They've talked about criminal justice reform for 30 years, but it took President Donald Trump to pass the First Step Act and the Second Chance Act. We're the only ones who have acted on it, yet they call us racist, just to show you how backwards that is.
I mean, you're talking about lifting the cloud of distraction. I really appreciate you saying that a lot of things right now are trying to keep a cloud over people who must vote differently from their party. They have to. They have no choice. If not, then the cloud will cover the sinking ship of the Democratic Party, otherwise known as the Democratic Party Titanic. This is what's going on. Think about the illegal immigration, Title 42. I just heard a word, and I want you to confirm it if you can, that the illegal aliens coming in are really meant to replace the black vote. And I think a lot of people might not even understand that if there's a group of people who are now leaving, like Brexit, with the blacks exiting the Democratic Party. I mean, we got Jexit. I mean, we got a lot of folk leaving. We have Latinos, Lexit. I mean, so if I need to replace a whole large block of votes, would it make sense that I allow illegal aliens to come in like crazy right before the midterms? What's your take on that?
Well, the greatest demographic shift we see today is among Hispanic voters. For the first time ever, the number of Hispanic voters identifying themselves as Republicans is virtually even with those identifying themselves as Democrats. That's a seismic shift. We have always been lucky to get about a third of the Hispanic vote. If the election were held to get today, and Biden and Trump were to have a rematch, Trump would probably carry 50% of the Hispanic vote, maybe even more. The shift among African American voters is slower. We know that's because of a culture of welfare that the Democrats started promulgating in the 30s, picked up steam in the 60s under Lyndon Johnson. But more and more, to the extent that you have a growing and more prosperous and better educated black middle class, those people are starting to vote their own interests. They don't like high taxes. They want better schools. They don't want their kids being taught phony gender nonsense.
Yeah.
They want low gasoline prices. They want to make sure when they go to the grocery store they can get the foodstuffs that they want. So it is a slower movement. But Donald Trump got the highest number of African American votes of any Republican presidential candidate in history. Well, that's not true. Higher than any Republican candidate since Richard Nixon in 1960, who even against John F. Kennedy still got 1/3 of the African American vote. That's a high water mark. And that's despite, in my opinion, bungling the question of the arrest of Dr. Martin Luther King very badly, which the Democrats managed to capitalize on. He still carried 1/3 of that vote. So to answer your question more directly, yes, I think that's why the border has been thrown open. I really like Governor Ron DeSantis. I think in many ways he's doing a very good job. But he has vowed that if they sent illegal immigrants to Florida, that he would ship them to Delaware. We have over 248,000 of them now, by best estimate, yet they don't seem to be going anywhere. He hasn't shipped them anyplace. We had a tragic situation in which they're now flying them in late at night. There have been these flights into Jacksonville, among other places. In other places, they're being bussed in. They are being given a prepaid credit card. In many cases, they're being given a temporary hotel pass card, so they have some stay. I actually have a woman coming on my own show, The Stone Zone, which, by the way, you can see 5 days a week on Lindell TV at frankspeech.com. Today at 5 o'clock, Alex Jones joins me at my guest. If you want to tune in, that's The Stone Zone at frankspeech.com.
Yes.
I'm coming on the show this week, Leon, who's a realtor, and illegals have purchased a home from her with $400,000 in equity supplied by the federal government.
That is ridiculous. That is ultimately ridiculous. Now that the government is funding its own shutdown, is that amazing? We're talking about shutdowns among shutdown. We're talking about economic shutdown, educational shutdown, the whole thing. The government looks like it wants to be shut down. That's the most ridiculous thing I could have ever thought of in my lifetime, that we now have an administration that is helping itself to crash and to shut down. I don't think, if we don't move now, and I know we got only a few minutes before we go into the second half, because we're going to want to break some things down as far as action steps. As General Flynn says, local action equals national impact. It leads there. If we don't stop these guys, if we don't stop them, Roger, I think the government is just going to be totally, before midterms, shut down. It's going to be no movement whatsoever if we don't stop them. Do you agree, or is there some way that you see something different?
Well, it's extraordinary the extent to which our entire system is being weaponized, particularly the judicial system. I pulled this T-shirt out and put it back on because, once again, as you know, I'm being harassed by the January 6th committee. Let's be very clear. I wasn't at the Ellipse. I didn't march to the Capitol. I wasn't at the Capitol. I literally know nothing whatsoever about that. But there is a 4-page spread in the Washington Post, which essentially tries to accuse me of involvement in something I know nothing about. They haven't run 4 pages on anything since John F. Kennedy was assassinated. I mean, Tucker Carlson had a 200,000 plus word attack on him in the New York Times. He called me, told me he was jealous because the Washington Post has attempted once again to bury me. They have subpoenaed people who work for me. They know even less than I do, and I don't know anything. So once again, it's fake news. By the way, there is not a single month in which my legal bills do not exceed the amount of money I make that month, busting my hump as hard as I can to do a show 5 days a week and to work for certain candidates as a strategic consultant. So I'm running in deficit. If people want to help me, they can go to stonedefensefund.com, stonedefensefund.com. Every month is an economic struggle, but that doesn't mean I intend to give up, not in the slightest.
Yeah, look, I want you to say that website. We got a few more seconds before we go into our next segment. But what is the website again if they want to help you out and help out Roger Stone?
StoneDefenseFund.com. I not only have the January 6th committee harassing me over nothing, but at one time I had 17 civil lawsuits filed against me by liberals, crackpots, nut jobs, Democrats. Whoops, I'm being redundant there. There it is. You can see it. StoneDefenseFund.com. We need your help. I'm now down to 6 civil suits. I have defeated 11 of them have been decided in my favor. I have no intention of giving up, but every day is a struggle. It's why I busted these shirts back out.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, number one, Roger's relationship with Jesus Christ, and then what action steps come from that type of faith. I believe that you're going to hear today simple, basic steps that you as Americans, as patriots, as believers can take if you want to save America, save this nation. We'll be right back after a few short messages from our sponsor.
J&M Jewelry provides online jewelry appraisals that are convenient, secure, and affordable. Appraisals are usually completed within 48 hours and sent directly to your email. Contact us today or visit our website to use our appraisal request form. jandmjewelry.com.
Satellite phones have been wiped out globally because of the supply chain collapse and war in Europe. But a truly amazing new option has emerged, the Bivy Stick, which allows you to send and receive text messages using almost any mobile device without relying on cell towers at all. In a world where war, riots, or a power grid failure can happen literally at any time, the Bivy Stick and its two-way satellite messaging gives you the power to reach loved ones, to send emergency messages or request a rescue. And to use this device, you do not have to register your name, and you don't need to turn on location services or reveal your geographic location. The battery life is several days in duration, and you can easily recharge it using a small portable power bank. There are only about 20,000 Bivy Sticks that will be available in America this year. Get yours now while they're still available at SAT123.com. That's SAT123.com.
All right, we are back, and I know you're probably excited. Oh my goodness, what we have been sharing today, I believe, is a part of the precursor, the precipice of a great revival that is taking place in America. You know, I'm running for Congress. I want to play this short clip about my desire is to see a people who have been lied to, who have been denigrated, devalued, come back to hope again, that there is a time and a place for everything under the sun. I think it's a time for change right now. Go ahead and play that clip, Hunter, of my commercial.
When I was a kid, most black families had 3 paintings hanging up in their living room: Jesus Christ, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and John F. Kennedy. That's how I was raised. And for the longest time, I believed that the Democrat Party was for the people. Unfortunately, that isn't true anymore, because everything the Democrats now support is the complete opposite of what these men stood for. My name is Leon Benjamin, and I'm running for Congress in Virginia's 4th Congressional District as a Republican, since my values don't align with Democrats anymore. Like JFK, I believe in freedom, fiscal responsibility, and independence from government. Today's Democrats want us to believe we need government to survive. They promise us health and safety, free education, and justice for all. But in return, we receive higher taxes, medical tyranny, and justice for only those who comply with their agenda. This is not the intended future JFK had for America. Just like JFK, Dr. King believed in the Constitution and the freedom it ensures every American. How did we go from his wonderful unifying vision to our children being taught divisive critical race theory? This is not the dream Dr. King envisioned. I will fight against CRT and advocate for school choice because parents should be in charge of deciding what school is best for their child's needs, not the government. As a bishop and a man of God, nothing disturbs me more than the left trying to replace Jesus with the government. We worship God, not government. Here in Virginia, Patrick Henry famously said, "Give me liberty or give me death." That includes religious liberty. No government can take away our constitutional and God-given right to religious freedom. That's why I'm proud to say that I've written over 17,000 religious exemptions to protect Americans' freedom of choice. As a husband, father, Navy combat veteran, and bishop, I can no longer sit back and allow this great country to be divided. We must get back to the true message great leaders like Dr. King and JFK fought for and restore our faith in God, not government. I'm Leon Benjamin, and I approve this message.
Wow. Look, Roger, returning our country, our nation back to its original foundation of Christian Judeo roots. You have had a personal encounter yourself with the Lord Jesus Christ. I would be remiss if we did not talk and being able to relate and connect the dots to the reason why America will be saved is because of patriots and men and believers like yourself who are not bashful or shy about talking about your personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. And kind of just give us a little bit about how this all relates to, I believe, the saving of America.
Well, Bishop, let's be candid. I'm living proof that Jesus Christ can do anything. I mean, I was targeted in a vicious political witch hunt. They fabricated charges against me almost a year after I was convicted. The federal courts forced them to disgorge the long hidden sections of Robert Mueller's secret report in which he admitted that he had found no evidence of Russian collusion or WikiLeaks collaboration or involvement in the theft and publication of John Podesta's incredibly embarrassing but entirely genuine emails. So I was convicted of lying about Russian collusion that never actually happened. It's not even physically possible. And for 2 years, my wife and I were vilified, smeared, threatened, framed, gagged, lynched, denied my constitutional rights, censored, canceled, bankrupted, and then ultimately redeemed in Jesus Christ and therefore pardoned. So I've said this quite openly. I reached a point where I hit rock bottom. Where I realized that I was going to be gagged and lynched so that I couldn't even object to what was happening to me. I was not even allowed to make a living. You know, we lost everything. I lost my home, my savings, my car, my insurance, most of it, my ability to make a living. It's a nightmare that can happen, by the way, to anybody out there. So in the blink of an eye, you can't even move across town without the approval of a federal judge. You can't travel. They tell you who you can associate with. They give you a list of people that you're not allowed to talk to. They don't even have to give you a reason. You can have no contact with the following 100 people. They don't have to justify it. There were people in there who were spiritual counselors of mine. They weren't witnesses in my case. They had nothing to do with my case, but they knew that by cutting me off from those people, they would make my time more difficult. So the time came after talking to many men of the cloth, pastors, rabbis, Catholic priests, and others, that I threw myself on the mercy of the Lord, that I confessed my sins, and I signed up again. I had been baptized as a Catholic. Sadly, the Catholic Church has been taken over by the communists. It's a very sad thing. The once great Catholic Church that was once a bulwark against communism. I'm thinking of great leaders like Fulton Sheen and Cardinal Spellman, who were hardline anti-communist. That Catholic Church no longer exists. Just like the Democratic Party of John F. Kennedy and Harry Truman no longer exists. The Democratic Party has been hijacked by a group of socialists, actually communists, Marxists for sure. But to not to get off track here, I think that this is a cautionary tale. But it also, I think, demonstrates that with Christ, anything is possible, including the salvation of this nation. In other words, people ask me all the time, they say they're worried about America, and they should be. They tell me they're concerned about the direction that we're hurtling in, and they should be. They say, how does it all come out? Well, God wins in the end. We know that because we believe the Bible. We read the Bible and we believe the Bible. What we don't know is the path. How will this happen? If you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans, because he has a plan. And I do believe, and I'll be mocked for this, it'll be on Newsweek or Media Matters for America, or God forbid the Huffington Post, because I say it, but I think I was saved for a purpose. I think God has a mission in mind for me. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I do know that I pray to him every day. I seek guidance. I know the things I'm doing are what he wants me to do. And I'm highly convinced that with the leadership of people like General Michael Flynn, like yourself, like Donald Trump, like Governor Ron DeSantis, like so many others, the nation will be preserved and we will triumph. But we have to go through literally living hell between now and that time. You speak of the upcoming elections. If the elections are fair, free, honest, and transparent, we will win them. But a man who's stolen a car and gotten away with it will go out and steal another car. And the last election was stolen. The big lie is not that the election was honest. The big lie is that there's no evidence of fraud or anomalies or irregularities in the last election. And when liberals say, well, the courts rejected that, no, the courts never heard that argument. They rejected hearing the argument. They didn't reject the arguments themselves. They refused to even weigh the subject. No legislative body, no court, no regulatory body has ever weighed or examined the evidence. They have just rejected the evidence because essentially you have unified establishment government. The days when the Justice Department was honest and non-political are long over. Attorney General Merrick Garland told us that they had not investigated parents who had the courage to stand up at school board members and object to their children being taught critical race theory. This week, we have absolute evidence that that was a lie. In other words, Merrick Garland lied under oath to Congress. So when is he being prosecuted? They prosecuted me for less. Dr. Anthony Fauci, this is humor. We need a little humor this morning. He said Donald Trump is elected president, he would resign. No, dude, if Donald Trump is being elected president again, you're being arrested and prosecuted. I think it's abundantly clear. I don't know what planet this guy lives on, but we do know that he shared in $350 million in secret payments from the big pharmaceutical firms for pushing the falsity of the COVID-19 vaccination regarding both its effectiveness and its safety. This guy will go down in history as one of the great mass murderers of all time, up there with Hitler and Stalin and Mao. Yet he thinks he's some kind of hero. The sooner this guy's in handcuffs, the better off this country is going to be. It may take a Republican administration, but they don't even realize that the bloom is off the rose. I have to ask you this. Was the Roe v. Wade leak timed for the exact same day that all the Pfizer data came forward, and we learned that there were 25% of the people who in clinical trial who were tested died, and that 42% of them had adverse reactions, among other things, or that that pregnant women under no circumstances should take the COVID-19 vaccination. Notice how you didn't read any of that on the front page of any newspaper in the country. Buried by Roe v. Wade. Just as the more we learn about Hunter Biden's laptop and the epic corruption that it proves is buried by the news about Roe v. Wade. So it is a game. But to go back to your central point, all things are possible through Christ. I'm only here this morning through by the grace of God, and I praise him every day for it. And I know that liberal elitists, the jerks at the Washington Post, the New York Times, and elsewhere, they're snickering about this right now. They're laughing, saying, "Oh, that's a head fake. That's Stone posturing for sympathy." You know what? I really don't care what they think. I only care what he thinks. And he knows all. You can't fool God. You can't bargain with God. You can't claim to be something that you're not. Now, I am imperfect. I am a sinner. There's only one who is perfect, and that is him. And I do my best to be a better Christian and a better father and a better husband and a better leader every single day. And I will stumble and make mistakes. There's no question about that, because we are all just human. But I am back in the fight. I mean, in all honesty, after the near-death experience that I had, where I very narrowly avoided dying in a COVID-19 infested prison in Georgia, where they wanted to send me, my own children, my own grandchildren came to me and said, "You know, Dad, Grandpa, maybe it's time to hang it up. Maybe you should just go write historical books, retire to the beach, lay as low as you possibly can." And I refuse to do that. I'm not going to do that. It would be the easy way. I mean, I can't travel even to Myrtle Beach without personal security. It's a very sad thing that leftists can't mind their own business, and the physical threats. I told somebody yesterday, if you contact me, don't leave a voice message. My voice message is full. It's full of death threats. I just save them. But don't even leave a message for me, because I don't answer them. Send me a text message or get me on the phone. That's the sad state of affairs where we are today. The left is increasingly violent, and they're increasingly threatened.
I think that's why, if we could unpack this, the relevant action steps. General Flynn made a major announcement at Myrtle Beach as far as get involved. Local action leads to national impact. Get involved, whether it be the polls, getting involved in city council, getting involved in the school boards, getting involved in just volunteering for candidates, getting involved, running for office, whatever it is, that now everyone must begin to take their rightful place in this retaking back of our republic. One of the things I want, if you can kind of explain, when a person, should they be fearful of all of the potential attacks of the FBI, CIA, deep state, radical left, BLM, Antifa, can I keep going? Obama, Biden, should we be afraid if we start to get involved right now today in every local place we can around this nation? Should we be afraid? Because I believe they are a bunch of cowards, to be personally. I mean, I believe that they are really afraid of us. And they're hoping that we keep giving them this big monster type of appearance that, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, but should we be afraid of people who are really lower than the earth right now for doing what they have been trying to do to this nation?
We should be unafraid. We should be concerned, but we should be unafraid. Look, in my case, they sent 29 fully SWAT-clad FBI agents brandishing fully automatic M4 assault weapons to arrest a 68-year-old man although I admit I look like I'm 45, but to arrest a 68-year-old man at the time who didn't own a gun, although I support the Second Amendment, because of my grandchildren, I don't like having a gun in the house, a position I've unfortunately have to change. And the idea that they needed to storm my house at 6 o'clock in the morning when they simply could have contacted my attorney and urged me to turn myself in which case I wouldn't have been able to raise the legal defense funds to fight for my life. They wouldn't have made me a national celebrity. I didn't seek it, at least not this way, but it is the byproduct of the abuse of the system. No, if you're not going to run yourself for the school board, for the county commission, for the state legislature, then get involved helping someone who is. Above all, and this cannot be understated, prayer. Prayer is your most important tool. I'm living proof that prayer has enormous power. For those who think that that's archaic or quaint, you're wrong. I have lived it. So one of the things that I said this weekend in Myrtle Beach, I'm going to double down on it right now, is there is something above the White House. You can see it day or night. It looks like a cloud, almost like a smudge in the sky. Several prophets have told me that it is a satanic portal, that it is a demonic portal through which evil enters this realm. I'm being mocked on it right now on Newsweek and Media Matters and all these other leftist clowns. And this is something that was brought to me by people who are prophets. I'm not a prophet, don't claim to be one. But I know people who are prophets, who have an uncanny accuracy in the things that they see and predict, because I think they're enlightened by the Lord. This was brought to my attention by a number of prophets. Because I'm a political analyst, I analyzed it very carefully. I thought at first, surely it's a reflection or refracted light or maybe an aerostat weather balloon or something, because it's there day or night. But when one examines it and when you zoom on it with a telephonic lens, it's swirling. It's like a cauldron. I believe it is a satanic portal. I believe it must be closed. I believe it can be closed, but only with millions of people praying that it be closed. Now, I'm being assaulted this morning on Twitter. I'm actually trending on Twitter because I had the audacity to say this. I absolutely believe it's true. If you don't believe me, you can go online right now. There's a live cam pointed at the White House. You will clearly see it. Unless you're Stevie Wonder, trust me, you will see it. It is.
Let me tell you something.
It's not natural. It's not natural.
We unpack this thing. Get involved. Local action, national impact. Pray. The third thing, and I want us to talk about holding the line, because I think a lot of people that once we get involved, like you said, be concerned, but don't sit back. Pray, the power of prayer, and now holding the line. I call it EMP, edify, manifested praise. To hold the line is to get billions of people now to say, I will not quit. I will not give up. How do you do this, Roger? Explain to the people, how do we hold the line? How do we hold it?
Well, first and foremost, make sure you're registered to vote and that you vote. The percentage of people who vote is extraordinarily low. It's embarrassingly low. We had municipal elections in Texas recently when 19% of the people turned out. So you have no right to complain about gas prices or food shortages or inflation or the fact that they want to ship $40 billion of your money to Ukraine while there are homeless veterans on the street here in the United States, unless you're voting. And the number of people who complain but then don't vote is extraordinarily high. And if you believe that your vote doesn't count, that's wrong. It does count. I'll tell you what makes voter theft very difficult. Overwhelming victory. That's what makes voter fraud difficult. So if you and your family and your friends and your associates are not registered to vote and don't show up to vote, you're making a giant mistake and you're not helping us save this nation. Secondarily, do not give a penny not a penny, to the Republican National Committee, to the National Republican Congressional Committee, or the National Republican Senatorial Committee. If you do, that money will be used to defeat anti-establishment America First candidates in the primaries, and to prop up the globalists who seek to dominate both parties. Pick individual candidates that you like, that you know stand for the America First agenda. Laura Loomer in Florida, Leon Benjamin in Virginia, R.J. Majewski in Ohio. These are the kind of people you need to get behind. Send your money directly to them. You can find their websites. Mike Crispy in New Jersey, Gerald Sessler in Washington State, Rhonda Kennedy challenging Adam Schiff, of all people, in California. Rhonda is spelled R-O-N-D-A. Brilliant African-American civil rights lawyer, hard-charging challenge to Adam Schiff. I just use these as examples. But be discerning, pick individual people, send them $25, send them $50, send them $10, send them something.
Yeah, well, look, we got to go. I want everyone to type in the word TAP, T-A-P, that's the America Project, to 94253. Text the word TAP to 94253. Get involved. Local action leads to national impact. Thank you, Roger. Hope you come back real soon.
Bless you and many thanks.
God bless everyone.
At the Brighteon store, we offer a variety